If you ever wondered how to get started with using colorful eyeshadows, this video is for you. In this video, I'm going to show you very simple techniques and walk you through 6 different eyeshadow looks, going from super basic to a little bit more complicated, that you can do right at home using minimal color. Let's get to it. Beauties, this video is going to be all show and tell. I've already primed with Paint Early from MAC, and for this video I'm going to use the Dollhouse palette from Blend Bunny. The reason I'm using this is because we are going to begin with colors that are very similar to neutral colors. This palette has a combination of pure neutral browns as well as some other shades that are sort of neutral adjacent, like these mauves or even the orange. You don't have super colorful shadows in this palette, so if you're someone who's just not sure where to start with color, this palette is amazing. It's also pretty reasonably priced. It's like $45 or something for the number of colors in it, and also it's a great quality palette. But of course, you don't have to start with this. Start with whatever you have at home. So our first eyeshadow look is going to be just one shade. I'm not going to use pure neutral colors. I'm going to be using neutral adjacent. So let's go with this color called Rouge. I want to just bring this eyeshadow into my crease. And I'm going to connect the end of the shade to really do that outer V area, make it a little bit more prominent. You can pick another clean brush and use that for blending these edges and blend it into your skin or into the primer. And once I'm done with the top, I'm going to just bring this eyeshadow, same exact color, under my lower lash line. And boom, done! I could have used any matte color and do the same exact thing and it would be a complete look. And these kinds of looks are actually pretty office friendly. If you're a little bit intimidated to go into the office looking like this, maybe there's a little red for you, you can use a lighter color. You could have used this one. It would have been muted down. It would have blended into your skin more and you would have been good. But as far as eye look is concerned, this is a complete look. Another look we're going to talk about is to just put the color across your lid. And this time I'm going to use Vintage. Now, I'm using these very medium level colors. You can go darker, you can go lighter, whatever you like. If you stay in the medium range, it's a little bit more conservative if you're not sure what you're gonna like. If you put a base, the shade is just gonna stick more, it's gonna last longer, so I highly recommend that you do that. But you don't have to do that. Do what feels comfortable for you. And again, I'm going to, with the same exact shade, come under my lower lash line and then diffuse it a little bit. This kind of eye look is actually done by a lot of very famous makeup artists, so don't discount these kinds of super simple looks. And again, you can pick another brush. This is from Michaela with Glamlight Collection, and just diffuse this into your skin. And boom, done. So whichever look you like, you can wear it as is. You can make it a little more colorful. You can choose more colorful matte colors and replicate this exact look. One very simple modification you can do to these looks to take it a step further is to put a color in your inner corner. If you decide to take that route and put a shade in your inner corner, you want to pick a shade that's lighter than the shade you picked. It can be shimmer or matte, it doesn't matter. Putting a light shade in the inner corner kind of opens up your eyes. And I'm going to show you that both with a shimmer color as well as with a matte color. So let's pick a matte color for this look, and I'm going to go into this shade Undress, which is a super light shade, and I'm going to use it in my inner corner and then blend the edge into the other eyeshadow. There's really no hard and fast rule in makeup. Maybe you want to continue and put the same color over here. Maybe you want to use the same color to blend the edge. You can do all of those. And there you have it. Your eyeshadow is done. You can put lipstick, mascara, foundation, blush, falsies, and whatever else you want, but your eyeshadow is complete. And for this one, I want to pick a shimmer color. So let's go into Tulle. which is such a beautiful shimmery shade. And this shade is going to go in my inner corner. And there you have it. Same eyeshadow, you added a little bit of color to it, and it's good to go. You could use a more colorful inner corner, like a gold, for example, for either of these shades. You could even use green or other colors. Of course, the palette doesn't have a green, so it's difficult to do that, but feel free to experiment a little bit. Let's now use some shimmers. So one thing you can do is to use a shimmer across the lid, similar to what you did with the matte. So let's do that. I'm gonna pick this one, Chantilly, which is whipped cream in French. Oh, such a beautiful color. Again, keeping it to colors that are similar to neutrals. They're not super colorful. And I'm literally just tapping this color all across my lid. Pick a fluffy shadow, go back into the shade and use it to diffuse the edges into your skin. Really depends on how you want the effect to look like. If you want a very harsh edge, you don't have to do this. You might even be able to blend it with your finger. You might have seen me do that in a lot of my videos. I love blending shimmers with my finger. I feel like brushes eat up my shimmers, so I don't really get the same effect using a brush, but you do you. And then I'm going to use the same pinched brush with a little bit of the same color and bring this under my lower lash line. Done. Again, one eyeshadow look across the lid, under lower lash line, and done. And if you're going darker, this is actually a very beautiful smoky look. I already imagine you can make very nice smoky looks using either this shade, a combination of a brown and a plum, or this one. Doing the same kind of look with either of those would be an amazing smoky look for a party. Or you can go lighter and use some of these. I'm not as much of a one eyeshadow look with a light eyeshadow person as I am a one eyeshadow look with a dark eyeshadow person, because I have very dark features. If I use a very light color, a lot of times it doesn't look good. It doesn't show up, or it looks like I'm using something low quality that's not comparing or showing up with all the dark features that I have. Or it's all just in my head. That could also be it. I just don't like it and I'm bringing excuses. Another thing that you can do, which you all have seen me do plenty of in my videos, is to use a colorful shadow like you would an eyeliner. So for this one, I'm gonna actually go into this blue, and I'm using a slanted brush. This is from Mecca Max, from an Australian brand that I picked up in Australia. And this is part of the reason I don't like, you see, it falls. This is part of the reason I don't like to use brushes with my shimmers. The goal is to use it like an eyeliner at your lash line. You might even be able to use your finger for this. And I'm gonna bring it out a little bit. You can blend it out a little bit if you want. You can use a different shade under your lower lash line, or you can use the same shade under your lower lash line. But I would wear this like this without doing the lower lash line, and I consider this a complete look. Let's take these a step further. One thing you can do, of course, is what we did with the first looks, which is put a color in your inner corner. I'm gonna do something different with this look, which is putting a color at the center here. And for this one, let's try lace. And I'm gonna use my finger, and I'm just putting this at the center here. Nothing super fancy, just brightening up that center a little bit. And boom, there you go. Another thing you can do is to put it also down here. I'm not going to do that. I'm happy with what the turnout is so far. And for this shade, you could also take it a step further. You can do a color in the inner corner, similar to what we did in the first looks. You could do a different shade above it, but I'm going to take a shade under the lower lash line. And for this one, I'm going to use a matte. The reason I'm using a matte is because shimmer is a little bit more attention grabbing than a matte is because it has all of those shines and shifts when you turn your head around. And I don't want as much attention to my lower lash line as I want to my upper lash line. So let's go into Plume, which is a beautiful plum, and I'm just picking a tiny bit of it. And I am using that across my lower lash line. If you want, you can just use a much more medium tone shade. And the look is done, and these are the two looks. So everything so far could have been achieved with just one shade, and then we enhanced the shadow look using a new shade. But our next two looks require two shades. We are up leveling progressively. So the first look that I'm going to do on this eye is going to have a darker matte shade in the outer V and a lighter shimmer across the lid. You have probably seen me do this look plenty of times. I do it with more than just two shades, but beauties, you could just do it with two shades. You don't need more than two shades. And to prove to you that that's possible, let's do it. I'm going to go into this purple color. This is such a deep purple. To diffuse these kinds of deep colors, I always blend them a little bit on my hand just to see what they're going to look like, so that I'm not all of a sudden starting with a very deep shade. And I'm doing exactly what I did in the very first look, sort of creating that V shape at this edge. And I'm kind of going in. And I'm going to use the same brush, although the head is a little bit large, to do my lower lash line. I'm just bringing it under my lower lash line, trying to keep it as close to my lash line as I can. Now, of course, beauties, how I position this on my eye really depends on my eye shape. Also, if you have a different shaped eye, you might need to figure out what works for your eye by practicing, and then essentially figure out where on your eye you need to put that deep shade. And normally at this point, I would go and put a little bit of glitter primer across my lid before I apply the shimmer, but I feel like I can just jump into the shimmer because I can still feel the tackiness of the base that I use, and I use Painterly for all of these looks. So let's get into it. I'm gonna go into this gold shade. Gold is a great shade to pair with purple because yellow and purple are complements. We'll talk about them in another video, but just know that the two are great to pair together. And this is going here. And a lot of time when I get to this portion of the look, I tell you all, let me diffuse the edges to remove harsh lines. So I'm just using that same brush with the purple color on it and making sure these edges are blended together. Now the look is complete. Could you take it a step further using maybe a little bit of this lavender to blend the edges? Absolutely. Could you put this color or this color in the inner corner? Absolutely. Could you buff out a whole other color in the lower lash line? Absolutely. Could you deepen out the outer edge with a deep color like this brown or that brown? Absolutely. But do you have to? Absolutely not. This is a complete look, and I think it looks pretty good. And for my other eye, I want to show you a halo eye using just two colors. I feel like everybody kind of knows what a halo eye is when you give this gradation effect with the two sides of the eye, the inner side and the outer side being deeper toned and the middle of the eye being a lighter tone. You can use only matte colors and create a halo look. You can use mattes and shimmers. I'm gonna use deeper mattes with a lighter shimmer. But beauties, in the third look that I created a minute ago with the olive green, when I added that lighter tone lace over it, I essentially created an all shimmer halo eye look. So it's as easy as that, and you can use it just with shimmers. You don't have to use mattes at all. But let me show you how you can use mattes. And to make it even more exciting, I'm going to use the same shades that I used in this eye for the halo eye to show you that you can use the same colors, and with a different technique you can get a different look. So let's go into our purple. I'm first putting it on this corner and bringing it on the outer edge also. And I'm gonna connect them at the center here. In fact, you can even fill it in. You can use a glitter base and then put the shimmer over it. So how much empty space you have here, or whether you don't even have empty space there, does not really matter. And let's not forget to bring this under my lower lash line. I'm now blending everything with a clean brush just to make sure this matte color is super blended. And now I'm just gonna go into the gold. Again, you can put a glitter glue base, but I'm just gonna do it. And I'm putting it over that center area. I'm back with this first brush. I'm going to clean up these edges. And with a tiny brush, I'm also going to put a little bit of that gold under my lower lash line, right under where that gold is on my upper lash line. And the look is complete. So you see, I use the same colors with a completely different technique to get a different effect. And you can do exactly the same thing. You could use a lighter purple to blend out the outer edges, to blend out the lower lash line. You could use even a lighter shimmer at the center. You could use a shimmer in the inner corner. You could do a whole lot of other things, but you don't have to. This is a complete eye look. Beauties, that's it for today's video. I hope you learned something. If you did, tell me which one of these looks you would try at home on your own. Also, if you want me to do more of these educational types of videos, I'm thinking about doing something on color theory, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed, subscribe to my channel so you get notified when I post those things. The more likes I get, the more I know you guys like these kinds of videos, and then I would make more of them. I love you all. Have an amazing day and weekend, and until next time, bye.